Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. At Huawei's summer press conference this year, although it introduced the Pura 70 series of mobile phones that have been released, it did not mention the chip situation in them, which is somewhat similar to the Mate 60 series released in August 2023. Huawei's move has also caused a lot of speculation. Why did Huawei suddenly stop mentioning chip performance when major manufacturers like to mention chip performance when releasing new phones? Some industry insiders said, Huawei's flagship chips do not mention chips at all, which is the beginning of the nightmare of Apple and other manufacturers. In fact, nowadays, whether it is Chinese smartphone manufacturers or well-known foreign smartphone manufacturers such as Samsung and Apple, when new phones are released, especially new flagship phones, they like to focus on the performance of mobile phones at the press conference, especially the chip performance. Even now, many smartphone manufacturers are using the launch of a certain high-performance chip as one of their main selling points. Even Apple, which has always focused on technological innovation, now focuses on the performance of new phones and the chip situation at the press conference. It can be said that this has become a trend in the smartphone industry. The emergence of this situation is not surprising. After all, with the development of smartphones, it is actually very difficult to come up with any distinctive innovations without a major technological breakthrough. Moreover, for electronic devices such as mobile phones and computers, performance parameters are one of the key points. Apple's iPhone was able to sell well worldwide at the beginning and became a world-renowned high-end smartphone model. A big part of the reason was that Apple's rapid innovation in the Jobs era made people shine every time a new phone was released. Even many of Apple's designs were imitated by other manufacturers. However, the main selling point of iPhone phones has now become chip performance, and Apple's chip technology has always adopted the most advanced process technology. At the same time, Apple's A-series chips used in iPhone phones and M-series chips used in tablets, computers and other fields are all designed by Apple itself. The performance of these chips can be said to be very powerful. Even under the same process, Apple's A-series chips perform better than Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips. From this situation, Apple seems to be catering to the habits of the current mobile phone consumer market and focusing on chip performance. However, Huawei has now begun to accelerate innovation, not mentioning chip performance, but introducing other outstanding functional innovations in Huawei's new flagship mobile phones. For example, the Huawei Mate 60 series focuses on satellite communication functions. As a new flagship mobile phone with photography and videography as its main selling point, the Pura 70 series focuses on its excellent shooting capabilities, descriptions of various camera performances, and other innovative technologies. The first reason why Huawei does not mention chip performance is that Huawei is still restricted by the United States and the West, and cannot purchase chips, parts, electronic components, etc. from American companies. At the same time, chip foundry has also been affected. The Kirin chip designed by Huawei HiSilicon has excellent performance, even surpassing Qualcomm's Snapdragon chip under the same process. However, due to restrictions, many of Huawei HiSilicon's advanced chips cannot be produced by foundry, which also leads to the performance of mobile phone chips, or the process technology, is not Huawei's advantage. Secondly, Huawei also needs to protect the relevant situation of chip foundry companies. After all, the outside world is still speculating about the foundry manufacturers of Kirin chips. From the current attitude, if Huawei's Kirin chip foundry is really made public, then related companies will inevitably be restricted by the United States. To put it simply, Huawei currently needs to protect the relevant information of chip foundries, stabilize the foundry capacity of Huawei Kirin chips, and ensure that it can supply Huawei's mobile phones and stable shipments. Finally, Huawei has now shifted its focus from chip performance to technological innovation in other fields. After all, judging from the performance of Huawei's latest two Kirin chips, the Kirin 9000's chip and the Kirin 9010 chip, with excellent software and hardware cooperation, the performance of chips with 7 nanometers or 5 nanometers processes is sufficient to meet the daily needs of users. Next, the main selling point in the field of smartphones is likely to shift from chip performance to technological innovation of mobile phones, as well as the ability to provide users with a better user experience and performance in different situations. It can be said that in the field of smartphone innovation, Huawei has already taken the lead. Apple, which once had excellent innovation capabilities and was recognized by a large number of users, has now begun to squeeze toothpaste in various ways. In addition to having chips with more advanced processes, each generation of new phones has basically no innovation points. From the development path of Apple and the reputation, sales volume, and expected shipment scale of Huawei's latest two flagship phones in the market and among consumers, they all performed very well. In fact, even if Huawei does not mention chips, there are still a large number of manufacturers who choose to buy Huawei's new phones, which is enough to show that the outstanding innovative technology of Huawei's new phones has been recognized by users. There is no doubt that Apple is about to start to feel uncomfortable now. After all, the performance of chips is basically coming to an end. The development prospects of silicon-based chips are basically gone. There is no doubt that now that Apple begins to compare development, it will be found that Huawei has quietly turned, and Apple's nightmare is about to begin.